Konnichiwa, I'm John Hornick. Welcome to my Japanese Faves series where we'll cover every major type of Japanese food. This is the introduction for two different lessons, Kabayaki 2, charcoal grill or konro, and Kabayaki 3, saute pan. My Kabayaki 1 lesson uses a gas grill. Kabayaki is a type of yakimono, which means grilled food. It's usually made with oily fish such as unagi, which is eel, sardine, mackerel, or pike. In the US, salmon, bluefish, or white anchovy, aka Boquerones, are good candidates. The fish most commonly used for kabayaki is eel, or unagi in Japanese. The fish is portioned into small, roughly square or rectangular boneless fillets that are skewered, grilled, and brushed with a thick, sweet sauce while grilling. The sauce, or tare or dare, I've seen it written both ways and they both sound essentially the same, is made with shoyu, sake, mirin, and sugar, and sometimes the sake is omitted. Traditionally, the grilling happens over charcoal on a konro or shichirin, something like what we call a hibachi in the US. But kabayaki is also sometimes grilled over other heat sources or broiled. All the recipes I've seen in the US for kabayaki saute the fish in oil. I won't be doing it that way because it's less traditional. In Kabayaki 1, I use a gas grill and skewer the fish. In Kabayaki 2, I use a very special type of Japanese charcoal called binchutan and skewer the fish. And in Kabayaki 3, I saute the fish in a cast iron pan without skewers. Kabayaki is often served over a bowl of rice, which makes it a don or donburi. Unagi over rice is unadon. What's the difference between teriyaki and kabayaki? They're both very similar. Both names refer to a method of cooking and a sauce. The teriyaki, in teriyaki, proteins like chicken or fish are brushed or dipped with a shoyu-based sweet sauce during cooking to make the surface shiny. Teri means shine. Kabayaki is basically the same, but the term refers more to a grilling method for fish rather than the surface appearance, where the boneless fish are skewered and grilled over an open flame and brushed with the sauce. So let's start cooking.
All right, now we're going to do Kabayaki 3, and for Kabayaki 3 we're going to use a saute pan. Now I'm using cast iron. You could use a non-stick pan if you like, or any other saute pan. I like cast iron because it holds heat well, maintains heat well. Now, I've seen some kabayaki recipes on the internet which use a pan like this, but they saute first of all, they dredge the protein, whatever it is. It's usually fish. It's usually salmon. They dredge it in flour or potato starch, and then they saute it in the pan with some high smoke point oil. We're not going to do that. I don't think that technique is as authentic. So, and Kabayaki 1 and Kabayaki 2 were really more authentic than this. In Japan, it's usually done mostly as we did in Kabayaki 2 on a konro grill with binchutan charcoal. I did Kabayaki 1 on a grill because most people don't have a konro, and it's kind of hard to get binchutan charcoal. So I did it on a gas grill. But this one we're going to do on the stove with a cast iron pan. So the first thing we want to do is heat up this pan to medium heat. And while the pan is heating, we're going to do the Shimofuri Technique. Now I did the Shimofuri Technique in Kabayaki 1 and 2. I'm using the same video for the Shimofuri and for the next steps, which are patting the fish dry, seasoning the fish, and brushing it with oil, as I did in Kabayaki 2, using the same video. I may say in the video that we're waiting for the konro to heat, but that's just because I'm using the same video from that video in this video. Okay, so next thing we'll see is the Shimofuri Technique. Now we're going to do the Shimofuri Technique, and we did Shimofuri in Kabayaki 1. And I'm going to explain what it is before I do it. I have boiling hot water here, and I'm going to douse the fish with the water. Just douse it. They're over a little rack in a baking pan, so the water can just run past them. They won't be soaking in the water. And then as soon as I douse them with the water, I'm going to plunge them into this ice bath to stop the cooking. What does this do? It reduces the fishy smell, and it freshens the flesh of the fish. Okay, now so what we're going to do is douse them with the hot water and then put them immediately into the ice bath. Okay, That is the Shimofuri technique. Okay, now we're going to pat the fish dry and skewered. And for anybody who's watching very closely, you may have noticed that I have one more piece of fish here than I had when I did the Shimofuri technique. I missed one, and I went back and did that separately. Okay, so we're going to just pat these dry, and then we're going to skewer them. I'm actually only going to skewer one because I'm only going to do one on camera, and I'm going to do the rest at dinner. So we're just going to pat them dry. Now you also know that I don't use many paper towels. I am making an exception tonight. Usually I'll just use kitchen towel and then wash them, but I realized that I didn't have any clean ones, so we're using paper towels this evening. Okay, let's pat them dry. Okay, we're going to take this one piece as an example for the video. We're going to brush both sides, or all four sides I should say, with some olive oil. All right, and then we're going to season with a little sea salt, just a very light sprinkle of sea salt or kosher salt. Okay, and then just a little bit of freshly ground black pepper all around. Okay, now we are ready to cook. All right, now rather than skewering the fish like we did in Kabayaki 1 and 2, we're just going to use tongs to place it in the pan. Why aren't we using skewers? Because it's very difficult to work with skewers in a pan like this, all right? So we're going to place these pieces in the pan, and we're going to let them cook for about 1 to 2 minutes per side for this size of piece, okay? This is basically a salmon fillet where we've cut off some slices and then cut it down the middle where the backbone would have been. So we end up with, we had, what, 3 slices, cut them in half, we have 6 pieces. We're going to cook these for about 1 to 2 minutes per side. And this is on, I'd say, not quite medium heat, a little lower than that, so between low and medium. Okay, we've been about 2 minutes on this side now. Why are we using heat that is below medium? It's because we want this fish to cook slowly, because we're going to start brushing it with the Kabayaki sauce like we did in Kabayaki 1 and 2. And we don't want it to cook too fast, and we want to build up that gloss on the fish, okay? So we're going to cook that now for about 2 minutes on this side. While that's cooking, we're going to brush the side that just cooked with a little Kabayaki sauce. We have a separate video on making Kabayaki sauce, and as I did in Kabayaki 2, I have it in this little small pot with water in it, and I have the sauce in a glass jar because my sauce gets pretty thick when it's cold, when it's in the refrigerator. So I'm heating it up in this little pot to keep it brushable, okay? So we're gonna let that cook for about another minute, and then we're gonna turn it. Okay, now we're gonna turn these, and we're gonna let them cook for about a minute on this side. And while they are cooking, we had one fall apart there. We'll try to put it back together a little bit. While they're cooking on this side, we're going to brush the top side with a little Kabayaki sauce. All right, they've been cooking for about 1 minute, so let's turn them over. We're going to brush them on the top side again with a little Kabayaki sauce. Okay, it's been a minute. Turn them again. We're going to brush them again. All right, it's been a minute. We're going to turn them again. And we're going to brush them again. Okay, now these are ready to plate. Now, I think the description calls for plating these over rice, which you can do. I'm not going to do it that way tonight. The traditional way is to plate them over rice. So there we have it. This is Kabayaki 3, the saute pan method. You can see photos of the final dish at my Instagram, which is at Chef's Apprentice, Cook Like a Pro. Please remember to subscribe to my channel, and thanks for watching.